Hello, everyone. I'm Kerriann Otaño. There are some sections of the internet that call me the Opera Hype Girl. I'm also here, your local representative of Opera Delaware, VP of Opera Delaware. I'm here to tell you all the things that are dope about your state. Do you know how much arts and culture y'all got going on in this state? Maddie and I got to talking about it, and that's why we created this show here, CultureScope. Because you know what we're going to talk about? We're going to talk about the artists behind the art. We're going to talk about the artists living in our community who are changing the game and giving us art that is worthy of our time and our attention. So, Matt, tell me a little bit about who we're going to be seeing tonight. Who are we going to be talking to?
Yeah, so we have a special guest. He's no stranger to the show. He's a very, very good friend of DETV's. Our friend Tony Capella is here to talk about the event that's happening at the Queen this weekend called Shine a Light. Have you heard of it?
I have heard just a little bit about it. I know this is, what, our 12th year doing Shine a Light?
12th year. Yep.
It's incredible.
Awesome. Well, Tony, welcome back. First of all,
Thank you.
We're always happy to have you here.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, thanks.
So let's get into this. So Shine a Light, this year we're shining a light on 1984.
1984.
Right? And you are the director.
I am.
Of the show for the past couple years, as a matter of fact.
The last four.
Last four, okay.
Yes.
So for those that are not familiar, tell us what the concept of the show is and what it benefits.
Okay, so the concept is, it started out as doing Rolling Stones tribute shows the first 3 years, and then we moved to tributing a year, and we started in the 70s and moved through, and now we're at 1984, and the money that we raise, we raise about $100,000 each event. And it goes to Reed's Refuge Center, Christiana Cultural Arts, Kingswood. There's a couple others in there. And it's just amazing. And we put instruments in children's hands.
I love that.
So anybody that, I mean, you can imagine if you're a parent and your child comes up to you and said, hey, I saw a clip of Louis Armstrong, or I'm showing my age, but anyway, a trumpet player on TV, and it really influenced me. I want to play trumpet, Mom or Dad.
Yeah.
Well, inside they're going, I don't know if we can afford it. And so we make sure they can.
Yes.
That's awesome.
And so, yeah, we've been very, very successful. As a matter of fact, we have recipients in the show now.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah.
people who've benefited from.
Yeah, our
Thank you,
trombone
Becky.
player,
That's great.
she is Kristen Monroe, plays for the Ravens
Phenomenal.
down in Baltimore,
That is awesome.
and she is part of the show.
Very
and
cool.
she has been for the past couple of years.
That's amazing.
So it's so cool.
How
Yep.
did you get into arts advocacy like this? You seem so passionate about young people learning how to play instruments. Where did that come from for you?
Well, I know what I went through.
Yeah.
You know, going to my parents and say, you know, I love music. I want to play, and so I shined shoes right on 9th and Tatton when I was a kid, and I saved enough money to get a drum set, and I went down to Levy's pawn shop and I bought a drum set on layaway. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
When we had the layaway
I'm
stuff.
so young. It's before my
that
time.
time you weren't
Layaway.
familiar?
Yeah.
I'm not familiar.
So anyway, I got the drum set and I drove my mother crazy for a few years. And then I wanted to play out live when I was about 15, and there were no bass players around. So I'm like, okay, if I learn how to play bass, I'll get in a band. So I learned I'm Your Captain, Grand Funk Railroad.
Yes.
And I wore out the needle on our big old console record player that we had back in the day. And I learned the song, and I went down and I played right on Elm Street.
Did you?
Yes.
Elm Street.
As you know it well,
yeah,
Matt.
I do know it well.
Yes. So that's how I got started. And then, you know, after touring in bands and realizing I don't really want to do this for a living, because I didn't like the cutthroat part of that business, and just the, you know, it's a tough industry.
Yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned that, because one of the things that we talk about a lot here is, you know, kind of the mental health struggles that come along with being in the arts.
Yeah.
And part of that isolation of being a
Yeah.
touring musician, that you bounce from city to city,
Right.
Yeah.
that you're not really connected to the community that you're performing for. Now, with this phase of your life,
Yeah.
to be able to use your passion for music to so actively give back to your community
Oh,
and
it's
be
so
so
cool.
tethered to your community.
Yeah.
How does that feel?
Oh, it's more rewarding than playing with Bruce Springsteen. Well, that's not true. But anyway.
Don't lie. I mean, don't lie. Don't lie. And also, listen, I need people on this show. This is going to be a show where we're going to hype ourselves up.
Okay.
And so you played with Bruce Springsteen. Is that what I just heard
No,
you say?
no, I didn't. I said.
Okay. Well, that's the rumor that I'm going to
That's where we're gonna
spread.
start that.
Listen, Facebook, everyone who heard this tonight, my guy,
Right. Played with
No,
Bruce
do
Springsteen.
not. I'm telling you that is not true.
I'm updating
Google
the
it.
Wikipedia when I get home tonight. I'm going on your wiki. I'm going on Bruce's wiki.
Be careful getting on somebody's wiki. You never know where it's.
Not the sticky wiki. No.
Oh my goodness. All right.
So, the most famous I've come is I toured with David Bromberg and a band called Angel Band, which is his wife, Nancy. And I did that tour for about 8 months, and I was 54 years old when I did it.
Wow.
And it made me realize even more that I like where I am now, giving back to the community.
Oh, absolutely.
Because realistically, if you're a local musician, you're not going to make a whole lot of money playing local bars or anything. So the best thing for me to do is support those venues and keep them active. The
Yes.
Grand Opera House, I did a tribute to Motown in November. Sold out. I was so thrilled that it sold out, and it was a great show. We did 3 rehearsals. I brought local musicians in. Same kind of format as Shine a Light, and I'm hoping to do another one in November this year as well. So
Tony, how do you source these musicians that come and play these events?
I go up, and when I'm out and I hear people, I approach them and I say, "Hi, I'm a creepy old man, and I have a show that." No, it's very challenging because I don't want them to think I'm a creepy old man. But I go up and
So
I'm
you
like,
disarm them by right off the bat
right
saying,
off.
hi,
Yeah.
Tony, creepy old man.
Yes.
Pleasure.
How you doing, huh? No, anyway, so I usually go up and I tell them that, look, I put on this show, and typically they've heard of it.
Yes.
So it diffuses the creepy old man thing.
There you go.
And then I tell them all about it, and I ask them if they want to be involved. And they say yes. And my gosh, the talent, I don't even realize sometimes the talent. This kid, Josh Marks, guitar player this year, he was on the Grammys.
Really?
I had no idea. And then Olivia Rubini. And Josh's girlfriend, Danny Peace, has been on countless TV shows. Had no idea.
And these
We
are all
ha-
folks who live in Delaware.
Yeah, yeah.
See?
I'm going to shout about it again, America.
Yeah.
I don't know what y'all are doing sleeping on the first date. I don't know what y'all are doing because the amount of talent that we have here, and then you get to experience talent like that at the Queen in an intimate venue.
Yes.
You get to experience something. It's so special. And then to see that talent on a major stage like at the Grammys, they're right in our community.
Yeah.
And we only get to learn about them through things like this. Now, I got to
Yeah.
say a shout out to you because my guy couldn't be further from a creepy old man. My guy Tony is a little charm bomb, and I bet you get everybody that you go up to and you say, "Hey, I really like the way you play." Come up, they're like, "I want to work with Tony."
Yeah.
A charm bomb,
It's,
Tom.
well, you know, it's the olive oil charm.
Hey.
Hey, forget about it. You
Italian
come,
sort-
I'll show you. No, anyway, the another gem from Delaware, Keith Mack. Probably never heard of him.
Tell me about
Yeah,
Keith.
tell us.
Keith, born and raised in Rehoboth Beach,
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
moved to New York, played in a little band called Scandal.
Okay, wait.
I am the
have heard
warrior.
about this. Yes.
Yes.
I have not heard about this.
Yeah. So major hits in 1984. Well, Keith is a good friend. So I reached out and I'm like, can you do this? I mean, he toured with Joe Cocker. He was on the
Joe
road for
Cocker.
years with Cyndi Lauper. I mean, this guy, he did a show with Joe Cocker in Berlin when they were knocking the wall down.
Get out.
And he is the most unpretentious guy on the planet. Humble, great guitar player, great guy.
And he's playing Saturday?
He's playing.
Wow, that's great.
So it's just amazing what's around here.
It is.
It really, really is.
And also the stories that artists like that have.
Oh, you don't want to
Right?
hear them.
Listen, that's a like after dark.
Yeah,
That's
that's
DETV
We'll have,
after
to go,
dark.
we'll have to go to the Chancery and to have some brown
We'll
liquor to
meet y'all
talk
at the
about.
Chancery afterwards, and that's where we get into it.
Yes. Yeah.
But like, it's so incredible to know someone who was there as the wall was being taken down.
Yes.
Who was making art.
Yeah.
Art in protest, art
Yep.
for a purpose.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We think about music and art as just the final product that we get to experience.
Yeah. Right.
But really, there's so much that goes into building these stories of what makes artists who they are.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I love getting to spotlight that. And
Yeah.
the fact that they're right here in our own community, my God. How
Well, when
lucky
he
are
walked
we?
into the rehearsal on this past Sunday, which was our dress rehearsal, 72 musicians in one room, about the size of this. And, we have this spreadsheet that lets everybody know when they're up. And I've got two guys that I call the sheriffs, and they herd the cats. And
Air traffic controllers.
yeah, very much so. And it's just incredible. Keith went, "Oh my God, Tony, I never expected this. I knew it was going to be cool, but I never expected this."
level.
Yeah.
And then backstage at the Queen is just,
Oh, I
it's
bet.
electric.
I bet.
It really, the vibe is unbelievable. I just can't explain how cool it is. And then after, the cool thing after is that all these musicians got to know each other.
Yeah.
And then you find out that they're playing in bands together.
That's very cool.
So they're capitalizing on this bond that we established in 3 rehearsals.
Yes. And that's what's so incredibly special about musicians and about artists is they bond in a very vulnerable and deep way.
Right.
Yeah.
And so like the creativity that gets to come out of those conversations, that gets to
it's
come out of
so-
just artists sitting around a table.
Oh my God, you can't imagine.
Amazing.
It is really cool, especially when you get guys like Keith, people like me who have toured, and some of the other folks, and we start throwing out stories. It's becomes very graphic and interesting.
DETV after dark. After
Yes, we have to do After Dark. It might have to air on HBO.
dark. They're
though.
not ready. They're not ready for it.
Review.
Oh, come on, this liberal town like Wilmington, Delaware. Come on, we can do it.
So, Tony, this year you're shining a light, as we said, on 1984.
Yes.
Some of the artists that were, big and had huge hits then, Boy George, Cyndi Lauper, Tina Turner, Bruce Springsteen, the list goes on and on and on.
Yep.
We're talking all those acts.
Yes.
We'll hear songs from those, correct?
Yes, absolutely. Michael Jackson. Oh gosh, there's so many of them, Matt. I can't even.
Those are big
So
names.
It's terribly exciting.
We whittled down from when we looked at 1984. I have a committee of about eight people, and we looked at the top 100 from 1984.
Oh, that's neat.
And then we go, oh my God, how do we pick this?
Right.
Because they're all iconic.
Slam dunks.
Yes.
One bop after the
And
next.
we have to
No
get it-
skips.
No skips.
No skips.
All bops.
Yep. And we have to get it down to a 3-hour show.
Yeah.
A 3-hour show. Anyway, so we have to do that, and then it's just unbelievable. So we have 43 tunes whittled down from 220.
Incredible.
And it was really,
That's got to be
really,
tough.
really tough. Oh my
Do you
gosh.
have a highlight of the night? Do you have a moment in the show that you're always looking
Yeah,
for?
you can
Because I will
tease.
tell you, for me, it would be that Tina Turner, whatever that
Same
Tina
here.
Turner. I know I'm very excited about that.
Yeah.
What is a musical moment that you look forward to in the lineup?
Oh my gosh. That is a tough question.
I
to
know that's what
answer.
I'm here to ask you. I'm the Barbara Walters of this bad boy. Let's go.
Well, you don't,
I'm here to ask you those hard-hitting questions. I'm the Oprah of opera, baby. Let's go.
okay, Barbara Wawa. So I just, walking out there, is just a highlight.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
when I walk out on that stage and everybody is just lit up, and I hear the audience,
Yeah.
it's
Electric, I'm sure.
Oh my gosh, it's just, and knowing that I'm there and there's going to be some great kids
Yeah.
who are going to benefit from it. That's
What a great
that's
feeling.
the reward right there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if I played in a club and they paid me $1,000, it would not be as rewarding as what I feel that
Not
night.
even close.
It's just so cool.
Yeah. I wonder, were there any adults that had a real impact on you as you were discovering music growing up? Like, 'cause
Yeah.
that's kind of the role that you have taken on now,
Yeah.
being someone who's providing instruments, who makes
Yep.
this such an important part of your life's mission.
So, I worked in a barber shop on 9th and Tatnall from very young. I started cutting hair at 13, believe it or not. Can you imagine a 13-year-old kid cutting hair? And when I was 10, I was shining shoes in
Yeah.
Wilmington. And my cousin Joe was a bass player in a band called The Penetration. And so
DETV After Dark. DETV After Dark.
it's very benign. But anyway, he was a bass player, and I used to go to Ye Olde Tavern on North Market Street and hear him play with my uncle.
That's awesome.
And I'm like, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
And it just kind of evolved from that.
Yeah.
And it's been some hell of a journey, I'll tell you.
love
It's
that. That's
wonderful. Yep, so cool.
So, Tony, the Light Up the Queen Foundation last year in 2023 was able to grant nearly $58,000 of funding to music education programs at 6 different local nonprofits.
Yes.
Incredible.
Can you speak about those nonprofits?
Yes, Reed Refuge. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but it is, I got to tell you, the first time I went into the facility, it was a lot different than it is right now.
Yeah.
It was a lot smaller, and there were all these little babies, and there was a recording studio and a dance studio, and I actually welled up. Because if these kids did not have that, I don't know what they would do. They're getting 3 square meals a day, and they're learning how to project their art
Yes.
and get it out there. And so and Freddie Reed was homeless, and he and his wife started this thing, and now there's a major expansion at the place, and it's great.
That's amazing.
So if anybody ever wants to see something that's incredible in our beautiful city, that's a place to go and check it out. Kingswood, another place.
Yes.
Cristiano Cultural Arts.
Yep.
You got people like Darnell Miller, Francie, who is in the show, and Stacy, who's in the show. We have another spin-off of the foundation called the Christian Salcedo Foundation, and he was tragically killed, hit by a car a couple years ago. So we started up that foundation, and they provide instruments to Cristiano Cultural Arts, which is great. I mean, a lot of kids benefiting from that.
Yes.
And there's a couple other ones. I don't remember what they are, unfortunately.
It's both from providing the instruments, but also creating that space where young people can make mistakes
And express themselves, right?
Oh, yeah.
and
Just
learn how to
be vulnerable.
Is
the
there
things that you learn by being in the arts.
Yeah, is there a place where adults can go and make mistakes?
It's
Oh,
here.
I need that.
Well,
On CultureScope, it's right here. You found it. You found it. Well,
Thank God, I've been
found
looking
it.
for years.
we need more opportunities. That's such a great point, because when you're younger, at least there is the expectation that you don't know everything. But when you reach a certain age, we get really shy about admitting
Yeah.
that we don't know, and then we cut ourselves off from those new opportunities. Think
Yeah.
about how many older folks would love to learn how to play an instrument, or love to dabble in Shakespeare, or love to learn arts and culture, but feel like it's too late for me.
Never.
Who told you that lie? It's
Never.
never too late.
Even if you suck to the 10th degree,
Yes.
and you could sit down at 80 years old, I mean, I met this guy, Roy, tonight.
Roy is the man.
A legend.
Yes.
I never heard of him.
Yes.
He goes, friend me on Facebook. I get on Facebook. I'm like, we're already friends. We were.
Delaware.
Welcome to
Delaware.
Delaware.
That's a very
And so
Delaware.
I'm like checking him out, stalking or whatever young kids call it, and old men call it. That's creepy old man again. Anyway, it was great. I'm like, this is so cool. And I have a funny feeling if he wanted to play piano, he's 85 years old, he would go out
Get rid of
tomorrow
it. I
and
believe
start
it.
taking lessons.
Yes. Yes.
And fashionable. If you didn't catch him on Good Morning
yeah.
Wilmington this week, to the nines.
Yeah.
Chic.
To the nines.
Yeah, he looked
amazing. Yes.
you know, the hat, the whole deal.
Roy, yeah.
He was decked.
Yes,
Yep.
he was, yes.
But anyway, it's just really cool to never be old enough or too old, I should
Yeah.
say, to learn an instrument.
Yes.
So true.
I mean, why not?
We talk about, Tony, one of the big things when Kerriann and I and Ivan were talking about why we need to have this art show and how important it is, was the importance of mental health in the arts and how arts can help someone who maybe is going through a tough time, or arts can bring you out from a dark place and make you feel things you haven't before. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because that's really
Sure.
an important aspect we want to cover in this show that we're starting.
So, not to get into anything too deep or heavy, but I grew up in a very dysfunctional family, alcoholism and abuse and all that kind of stuff. So music was my salvation. I mean, when I would play, none of that mattered.
Yeah.
And I
It
see
melted
that with children now, that, you know, once the instrument's in their hand, they start to glow. Mm-hmm. It's a totally,
That's
you
priceless,
watch
right?
you watch the pain wash out of them. And that's why it's so important to have the arts alive, whether they're painting a picture or making a piece of pottery or no matter what it is,
Right.
that they can be engaged in their talents.
Right. Yeah.
It makes a big difference in things. I mean, most of us these days after COVID, I think the Xanax prescriptions are through the roof
Yes,
because of
yes.
anxiety.
Yes.
Yeah.
We had to
It's
deal
real.
with some things that we never thought we'd have to deal with.
Right.
And we're adults and we had struggled. Imagine with a 10-year-old kid.
Right. And how do you explain it to them when we don't even know what we're going through?
Yeah, you
know what I
don't.
mean? Right.
And if they try to watch the news to figure out anything,
Yeah.
God, they're going to hear 10 different stories. Which way do I go?
Right.
So anyway, the music is the balance.
Yeah.
You pick up that instrument and
Yeah.
it's right there.
And it's such a personal thing to play an instrument, but also
Yeah.
it's such a community building tool,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Because when you are in a band or when you're in an ensemble or when you're doing a play with a group of people, you have to be really present. You have to be really focused and active in that moment. You have to be listening to each
Yes.
other.
Right.
Right? You can't be worrying about what's going on
No.
the news. You
No.
can't be having anxiety about tomorrow or depression about yesterday. You have to be right here present
Yeah.
in this moment, making art
Yeah.
with your
Right.
friends,
Yeah.
right? And so it's a gift to participate in. It's a gift to be in the audience of.
Yeah.
I love that.
It is a gift. When you can energize a crowd
Yeah.
with notes
Right.
Yes.
and just attitude, I mean, come on. It's just wonderful. It's an amazing thing to be able to do.
And Tony, you're a real asset as Kerriann to this state because, I mean, you had talked about all these events that you have been the director of, and they're sellout events. I mean, this event is close. It will
Yeah.
sell out. It's just a matter of will it be
Absolutely.
tonight, tomorrow, or the next day. It'll sell out.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
So
We
I.
got a range of ticket prices for
Right.
this,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Can you tell us just about the ticket
Sure.
prices and where they can learn more?
The general admission is $65. I know that's a little steep. However, just think of where it's going, and you're
Right.
going to be entertained beyond belief for 3 hours.
Yeah.
You're going to see some great people. Then the VIP is $250 for the entry level VIP, which is a free food, open bar, and then there's $300 level, which will get you a seat in the balcony.
Okay.
So
And a striptease from Tony. I was told.
you know,
I was told.
Is that what you were told?
yes,
Is that right?
you know, it's hey,
Hey, Tony, no!
what are you gonna do? Huh?
Unhinged. Unhinged.
No, a lot of things could come unhinged if I did that.
The hips.
My hips, my back, my neck, shoulders. Yeah.
But
I
no,
love that.
but that's great. Yeah, I had saw a low ticket alert on the Queen's Facebook page the other day,
Yes.
so we know it's come down to the wire. So if you're interested, we urge you to go to the Queen's website. I'm assuming is the best place to get more information.
Yes,
to
please
learn about
do the Light Up the Queen Foundation website or the Queen. Go on their ticket page, and you can see. And please support these local venues. I mean, you know, Wilmington is a pretty safe place compared to other cities. No matter what you read in the paper or anything, I mean, you got the Chancery, you have Deco, you've got Bardea, all these great restaurants. Come on, get out, support
Yes.
this
So true.
beautiful city.
Be an active part of our community.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I
And
mean-
the arts and culture is a major, major part of that.
Yeah.
I want people to know that they can really take ownership of these spaces, that you don't have to go to big cities to experience art that's worth it. That what we can do here at the Queen is intimate and special and unique.
Yeah.
And how gorgeous is that, right? And $65 is such an incredibly affordable price
It really
to
is.
put
It
on a
is.
3-hour musical experience
Yeah.
that's a tribute to all of these different musical artists that we've loved
Yep.
throughout the 80s, and to have such an impact on the community. To
Absolutely.
have such an impact on the
Yeah.
next generation of great musicians
Yeah.
growing up in Delaware.
Yep. You don't have to go to Philly. It's all right here.
And we talk about that, the hub, right?
Yeah.
We talk about, you know, Wilmington, we're only 2 hours away from New York,
Yes.
Baltimore, and
Yeah.
DC. We're only 2 hours away from these good things, but you're actually only 2 minutes away
Yeah.
from excellent,
So
you know,
true.
excellent
Put
art
it
here.
on a
True.
t-shirt.
Right, yes.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
It's-
right here, we really have the artists right
Yeah.
here. I mean, we were talking right before the show about just like the amount of talent and the names that you were mentioning with people that you grew up with who have just done amazing things
Yeah.
in the music industry. You know, and it just it's incredible.
So 2 minutes away. That's great.
Right.
It's just like my sex life.
I can't with you, Tony. Now, see, this is when you know we're about to queue up right into DETV After Dark.
Right, and this is when our director gives us the rap sign. This is when our director
He
gives
said,
us
"Tony's
the rap sign.
unhinged."
Right, we have to.
Come
end
on,
this.
wrap it up.
Tony said these hips, we're unhinged.
He
Let's go.
become unhinged.
Well, Tony,
Listen,
thank
yes.
you so much for being with us
Thank
live
you.
tonight.
Thank you.
I'm so
Thank you
excited
so
about the
much.
event this weekend.
Yeah.
I'm thrilled to see so many years of success with
Yes.
this and the impact that it has on the community.
Are you coming?
Now I am.
Yeah, now
Okay,
we
This
are.
is,
good.
this is why this show exists.
Right.
It's because there's so much that's going on that we can't even keep up
Yes.
with how much great entertainment there is
true.
in our community, how many great events, special events, gala events, fundraisers. There's always something going on in Delaware
Yep.
in the arts and culture scene. And so we're going to highlight that, and then I'm going to see you this weekend, baby.
We'll be there.
Yes. Keep it alive, Wilmington.
Right.
Come on.
All right. Well, Tony, thank you very much for being
Thank
here.
you,
We
Matt.
always love having you here as
Thank
a true
you.
friend to the station. So thank you, Kerriann. We did it. First episode in the can.
Oh, blammo. We did it live?
Yes, and live at that. Look at
Haters
that.
will say it's Photoshop,
It's
but
not.
they'll be wrong.
It's not. It's
because we did it.
All right, folks. I think we should probably end here.
We're just getting started. Come on.
Our thanks to Tony Capella for joining us. He's the director of Shine a Light on 1984. You can get more tickets on the Queen's website. They are selling out fast, so it's going to sell out in a matter of days. Tickets probably will not be available the day of, so make sure that you go on the website. If you're interested, learn more on their social media page or on their website, and we will see you next week on the next edition of our show. Have a good night.
Bye, my friends.